Like Dad, I've always been a Ford man. The Falcon Squire wagon was unloved in 1964, but turns heads today. The Americans call them woodies, but the panelling, it's just fiberglass and plastic. But it's a passion that Shannons understands, which is why my Fords are insured with Shannons. And now, so's the home.
Call Shannons on 13 46 46. Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts.
Gasoline is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, and the following sponsors. I'm Michael Curzon, producer, creator of Gasoline. Hope you enjoy.
And here we are, it's Father's Day, we're at the Shannons Classic Aussie Muscle Car Day, and here I am with Simon Burnell. Simon, can you tell me a little bit about this HQ Monaro you've got?
Yeah, g'day mate, how are you? Look, basically it's 4 years since I've had it, 6 years for the rebuild. Was pretty much a paddock basher, full of rust in the usual spots. Running gear was all seized up. Basically, I had the paintwork done by someone else. The interior was done, obviously, from interior guy, but everything else I've pretty much done myself. And it's all up until you see today. Always doing little bits of cosmetic things as you go, through. You're always doing, either polishing or ripping something off that doesn't need to be ripped off, and cleaning it again and putting it back on. But it's a passion, mate. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it sure is. And the car, it looks fantastic. You mentioned there about the restoration work. This had an undergo a full restoration, did it?
It did, mate, yeah. Look, it basically, the motor had to be fully rebuilt. I've got another Trimatic at home that's sitting at the moment that's rebuilt. I've got to change over. Diff I haven't touched at the moment, but that'll get changed eventually. But look, it's just a good cruiser, mate. It's not a race car or anything, but just a good classic cruiser.
And it is. It looks fantastic. You say it's not a race car, but when I look into the engine bay there, that 308, I can see some Edelbrock manifolds and MSD ignition. Have you done much engine work to it?
Yeah, look, just reliability purposes more than anything. I wanted something that obviously is going to start and when I need it to. So electronic ignition, we've put a blaster coil in there as well. Holly 600 Holly. Edelbrock Performer, got a mild cam in there. Look, 300 horsepower it's putting out, which is nice. So if you want to put the boot in, it'll get up and go.
That's it, and it does it. It really looks fantastic. You've got your green little mascot in there in the front seat there.
Yeah, compliment to the kids, yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a beautiful thing. Glad to see you've done the resto. Really good to see cars getting restored, then getting out and driven. Hope you enjoy your day here.
Nah, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Alright, today I've got Doc with me with this beautiful XC Falcon coupe, and it's quite a funny story. Doc tells me he brought the outside side scoops 2 years before he brought the car. Doc, how does something like that happen?
Yeah, mate, I was ripping through a wrecker when I was in Victoria, and there was an old rusted out coupe there, so I grabbed the side scoops off it and thought I'll buy me a coupe to fit these two one day.
And I tell you what, it's a great looking coupe. When you finally got the car, Doc, what sort of condition was it in?
It was a dude, it really was. It's an ex-police pursuit car. I approached the cops and said I want to do it up like a cop car. They basically said no, so I turned it into something they hate. And yeah, I bought her in '89. Yeah, just out of the paper basically. It cost me $1,000 for the body, and it's been on the road for about 15 years now. So.
Did you hear that, viewers? $1,000 for an XC coupe. You don't hear that very often anymore. Now tell us, Doc, how much of the work have you done to the car yourself?
Everything bar paint, mate. I couldn't paint a straight line with a ruler, so all the bodywork's mine, all the interior, all that kind of thing. So.
All right, it really is a beautiful XC GS coupe. Ex-cop car, hard to find. You've done well. Congratulations, Doc.
Thanks very much, boss. See you, mate.
Don't forget to check out the all-new Shannons Club. Once you sign up, you can create your own profile, including things like your previous cars, your current cars, the history of those cars, modifications and photographs. You can also search for other members' vehicles, keep up to date with things like news and current events, videos, check out your local car clubs and jump on the forum to talk to other like-minded enthusiasts about your passion.
We're the Gasolene twins. Hope you're enjoying the show.
Okay, I'm here with Greg Thompson now, and he's got this beautiful HQ GTS Monaro. Greg, fantastic car. What can you tell me about it, mate?
Well, I purchased the car 2 years ago from a Shannons auction, winter auction, and being a genuine GTS four-door, it needed a little bit of work done on it to bring it back to its original condition. So I set about removing pretty much everything mechanical on the vehicle progressively. I've got a sandblaster at home, so I do all my own sandblasting. Some minor replating I do myself, the rest of it I take to the professionals. I do my painting, so most of the parts in the engine bay I've done myself, restored, put back on. A lot of it was HJ, HX, HZ, bits and pieces that were bolted on over the years. So I've removed all of those and sourced the correct HQ bits and pieces and put those back on the vehicle to try and bring it back to its original look from 1973.
And I tell you what, you've done a fantastic job. That engine bay is one of the nicest I've seen. All of the paint codes, all of your little markings. It's a real credit to you. How did you find all that information?
Well, I'm a member of the Monaro Club, and there's a few guys in the club that are very knowledgeable with HQs, the series of HQs and the bits and pieces that were on those cars. So just talking to those guys and looking at some original cars that haven't been restored at car shows, and worked out exactly what the bits and pieces and stamps were supposed to be, and we've gone ahead and put them on.
Okay, and it looks fantastic, and you can see that heart there, the 308 just sitting there, looks beautiful. What sort of transmission and differ you got in this one, Greg?
Well, this is stock standard, this vehicle. It's a 308 with a Trimatic and a Salisbury 10-bolt rear end. Now, originally 336, but it's running 3.08 gears in the rear end at the moment.
No worries. It also 3.08. I'm guessing you don't get it out on the track very often?
Not at all. Just a cruiser for the weekends and the odd car show, take the family out.
Yeah, it is, and it's a beautiful day here today, and I tell you what, the car just gleams in that sun. Even the wheels, you're telling me you've just had them redone?
Yes, that's right. We stripped them back to bare steel, had them re-rolled, and the correct paint colours for the 1973 car, and put them back on, and they've come up quite nice with some original centre caps and trims.
Yep, and I'll tell you what, those red wall tyres, they really set off the wheels there as well.
They do. They look a treat, the red walls. I was debating whether to go white wall or red wall, but in the end, the red wall won out, and I'm glad I chose the red wall because they look very good.
Yeah, it does. The whole car looks very good, and I want to thank you very much. It's a beautiful piece of machinery. Thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us today. It's been our pleasure.
No problems at all. Thank you.
Okay, and behind me here is probably one of the rarest Falcons of all. It's a 1971 XY GT HO Phase 3, finished in Onyx Black. And with me here, I've got the owner, Eric Watson. Eric, tell me a little bit about the history of this rare car.
I bought it in 2006 from the ex-president, or the actual president of the New South Wales GT Club. And yeah, I restored it, or we took it off the road in 2006. And yeah, basically Frank Bortelli looked after the resto for me. Steve and Joe Tupac did the body and paint on it, and yeah, I've just been driving it and taking it to the odd car show every now and again, but it's been doing quite a few highway miles, you know, so it gets a bit of use, you know.
And speaking of highway miles, Eric, I remember hearing the story about when you purchased this car off Stuart Hansen, that the original engine was in the boot and you drove it all the way from Sydney to Melbourne with the original engine in the boot. Is that true?
Yeah, well, I had the block in the back, and yeah, I went up with a mate, and yeah, we drove it home, and yeah, it was an interesting ride. We broke down with points about halfway, in about 10 o'clock at night, and we did a bodgy repair, ran on one point, and got it home. So yeah, so it was a bit of sort of, yeah, I didn't want to leave it on the side of the road, you know. So you know, it was pretty interesting anyway. Good trip, mate. Good trip.
Good trip. Beautiful looking car. It's had a full restoration. How much of the restoration did you have to do yourself, Eric?
I really got Frank Bortelli to do the whole lot, you know. Like at the end of the day, he got, like I said before, Steve and Joe Tupac to do the body and paint, and then he just restored all the parts and, you know, puts them all together. And if anybody who knows, you know, anything, you know, in the GT community, that when it comes to Phase 3s, you know, Frank Bortelli's, you know, the man. And yeah, I had no doubt of, you know, his quality of his work and his nationals, you know, winners beforehand. So I just thought, well, get the right man on the job and do it once and do it properly, you know. So.
Done well. On these Phase 3s, there's a great stigma about them. They were all fitted with top loaders, all fitted with 9-inch diffs, those big mighty 351 Clevelands, 4V heads, shakers. Have you left all the drivetrain standard, or have you modified this one?
Yeah, we built the motor to sort of back to sort of standard specs, because my theory is I don't want to sort of have such a big horsepower motor in an original car. It's only, to me, it probably devalues of having 600 horsepower in a genuine car, but everybody to their own. So we just went back to standard, you know, like that, and it still goes pretty well. Like, you know, even now you've got to clean the plugs out and give it a bit of a, you know, whipping. But at the end of the day, they, just from factory, they went pretty well anyway, you know. So that's it.
They sure did. I'll tell you what, the car looks beautiful. Eric, thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us today. It's been our pleasure.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Modern Plating, for all your plating needs. With over 50 years experience in delivering quality to the automotive restoration industry, whether it be bumpers, die-cast pieces, polishing and repairs to aluminium or stainless steel mouldings, even ceramic coatings, Modern Plating has it covered. modernplating.com.au, located 4 to 6 King Street, Oakley, Victoria. Remember, Modern Plating, when quality matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, the coolest show in all of drag racing is heading to Sydney Dragway for the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Car Extravaganza, Saturday, November 23, featuring US superstar Ron Capps and more. Sydney Dragway, where excitement lives.
Hi and welcome back to Rocket. Today we're looking at Autometer gauges. Now Rocket's the Australian distributor for Autometer, and Autometer manufacture over 50 different series of gauges, anywhere from restoration, hot rod, muscle car, street and full-on competition. Now some of the gauge sets we've got here to show you. We've got the brand new Prestige series, you can see there, black face. They've also got a white face come on there, beautiful. Now this is award-winning packaging, so you can see how it all works. It lights up, come in sets or individually, and different sizes so they can fit into your dash. You've got a bunch of competition gauges down here. These are the tachos with the shift lights. Now they've got memory recall. These ones have also got a playback, so that it'll record the run and it'll play back your revs during the run and your shift points. Individual shift lights. Again, more tachos. You've got competition style gauges that you can fit in your muscle cars and your street machines. You've also got these MCX series here, which are a muscle car series. They're great. And you've got Arctic White for your hot rodders. They light up with the white. Now, Autometer is also the officially licensed manufacturer for Ford, GM and Mopar. So they do the gauges for Ford, GM and Mopar in there with the logos on them. You've also got this Cobalt series, which is a great sort of semi-competition gauge, lights up inside. You've got full digital gauges, and you've also got the ultra night gauges, which glow in the dark at night, great for speedway and a bunch of other competition stuff. So as you can see, Autometer's got a gauge to suit all your needs, no matter what car you're building or what motorsport you're into. Give us a ring here at Rocket. We'll try and set you up with the right gauge set and with the right sizes that you need. Or you can visit our website at www.rocketind.com.
To download your free copy of the Rocket Narrowflow Performance Parts catalogue, go to the sponsor section on the Gasolene website. Click on the links and download away. With over 650 combined pages of performance parts and accessories, you're sure to find everything you need for your car.
It's all I seem to do when you're here is blame. And everything you've ever said to me abstain.
Okay, and here I am with Craig Jones and his beautiful AP6 Ute. Craig, great work on the car. Can you tell me a bit about it?
I first purchased the car, I think, in '92 or thereabouts. It was off a carpenter down Gippsland Way. The car was registered, drivable. I bought it as a daily driver and drove it around for maybe 7-10 years. Took it off the road for about another 5, I think. It sat in the shed, and then one day I decided to get stuck into it, and here it is.
That's when the fun begins. So Craig, I can see the car's had a beautiful restoration. How much of that restoration project did you actually do yourself?
Apart from the chrome plating, I virtually did everything myself. So I did the upholstery, the paint. Mechanically the car was quite good, so it was just a matter of cleaning up everything and putting it back on, and off we went. So.
No worries. No, I was lucky enough to get my head under the bonnet of that car earlier, and I saw it had the 225 Slan engine.
That's it, yep.
Mechanically nothing does go wrong with them, and I tell you what, a little car like this, that must really help it get up and go.
Oh, this one's not too bad. It's getting a little bit tired, but it's still running the standard carburetor and so forth, so it's got a bit of grunt there, but it's not a race car by any means. But
And what about the rest of the drivetrain there? I can see you've got a column shift manual there on the...
Yeah, just 3 on the tree as standard from the factory. Just no synchro on first on this one, so a bit of double declutching sometimes.
No worries at all. And I see with the restoration you've gone as far as to really focus on that tray as well. It's beautiful in there. You've really done front to back. What did you enjoy the most out of the restoration on this car?
Personally, I quite like the heavier sort of work, the welding and the body work like that. But paint's a little bit of a nightmare sometimes, just trying to get it as best you can. But the whole car was painted outside and restored outside, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, you've done a great job, and it really should be a credit to yourself, and great to see it out here today.
Thanks very much.
No worries, thanks for chatting with us. Here we are. Today with me I've got John and Bella and his beautiful LC GTR Torana. John, great car, mate.
Thank you very much.
Now, I've just had a quick look at it. The first thing that sprung out at me was those triple Strongbergs, but you tell me, John, that this car was actually built by your uncle.
That's correct, up in Coffs Harbour. He did the full restoration on it.
And it was a full restoration, was it? Back to bare metal?
Back to bare metal. Full.
And it's a funny story. I believe that you actually flew up to Coffs Harbour and you drove the car back down.
That's correct. I flew up there, we drove it down over the course of 2 days, and yeah, it was a pleasure to drive on the open road.
On the open road, 2 days. I tell you what, you must have travelled a few Ks. How many Ks were you doing a day then?
I'm not 100% sure, because we just kind of cruised, and we only travelled during the daylight because we didn't want to run in any kangaroos on the inland road.
So you went the inland road. I'm sure those Strongbergs there, they would have loved doing that.
Oh yeah, it was an absolute pleasure. We just wanted to keep going and going and going.
Okay, now tell me a little bit more about the car. You said your uncle built it. What sort of transmission and differ in this one, John?
It's got a Aussie 4-speed, and the diff's a Banjo with 355 ratio.
Nice, so 4-speed and 355s would have loved that open road.
Yep. Gets a bit higher in the revs, but down low when you're just cruising, it's absolutely beautiful.
And you were saying to me earlier on, this is the first time you've had the car out for a show. How do you feel this is your first car show?
I feel good. Yeah, I didn't know what to expect coming here, so it was it's been a good day.
It has. It's been a really good day. Thank you very much for speaking with us. Great looking car, and we hope to see you out at many more car shows.
I think I will. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks.
And here's a date to mark in your calendar, viewers, Saturday the 23rd of November. And if you're not in Sydney, I suggest you try and get there. Our good friends at Aeroflow are bringing us the Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars. With over 10 cars there on the day and drivers from New Zealand and America, including the famous Ron Capps and his funny car, the Allo Hooker, it's going to be a great event and there's something there for everybody. Face painting for the kids and fireworks for the whole family. So hope to see you there, Saturday the 23rd of November at Sydney Dragway.
And we'll see you next week on Gasolene.
Gasolene is proudly brought to you by Shannons, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, and the following sponsors. I'm Michael Curzon, producer, creator of Gasolene. Hope you enjoy.